Wow, I'm in black and white tonight. How did I do that? Well, anyway, man, I'm in black and white tonight. How did I do this? I'm not even in color tonight. But anyway, I want to welcome everybody to tonight's show. Hope that you start tuning in. We're about to get it on tonight and have a real good times. But I like to know what's going on with my color here. Mm. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and start. Well, tonight I have special guest King Moussa coming back on tonight, along with a couple other brothers that'll be probably calling to the show. We're gonna have a hot topic tonight. It's gonna be basically dealing with um, a lot of the initiation rites versus those initiations long ago of the ancient customs. We're going to see the comparison. We're going to see how does that filter off into Freemasonry as we know it today. So just bear with me as we begin the show tonight. Like I say, it looks like to me I'm looking in black and white, but I couldn't tell you what's going on with that. So definitely join us as we get into this show. I'm quite sure that you're going to have a good time. It is the color of time. All right. So, man, I don't know how I managed to do that, but I'm gonna leave it where it's at. It may be something new to me. I'm gonna have to leave it where it's at. I can enjoy it just the way it is. As the brother says, the color of time. So, ain't nothing wrong with black and white, right? You know. So we gonna do this thing here tonight. I'm gonna turn down my volume here. There you go. Got that turned down. So I definitely want to welcome everybody to the show tonight. We're gonna get it in. So we're looking at I'm waiting on brother Moussa to give me a call. And there was another brother that wanted to call into the show. I think there was brother Joseph. I'm not for sure. But tonight the call-in number is going to be 619 2860642. Also, for those of you who want to be part of the conversation piece is going to be 619-985-1184. It's the conversation piece tonight. I'm kind of digging this black and white though. I ain't kidding you. This is all right for me. I just don't know how I managed to do it, but it's done. Oh my goodness. Yes, indeed. So let's get that in right now. Let's see, can I get King Musa to come on and see what's going on with him? See if he's about ready to make that to come on the show tonight. Uh, let's see what we can make happen here. So welcome everybody that's tuning in. I certainly appreciate it. Looking to have a good show tonight. And I got my tea.
Robinhood is an investing app that lets you buy and sell.
Now, I don't want to know about Robinhood investing app, but I definitely want to know that everybody's doing well tonight. And if so, I want to send peace and blessings to your family, to all of my Prince Hall brothers, to all of my international brothers, my modern free brothers, my PHO brothers. Welcome aboard to tonight's show. It's all about us. I'm telling you, I'm excited about the context of tonight's show, about the initiation rites in regards to uh, Egypt and Africa versus what we do now in the Masonic world. So that debate is going to be about that tonight. What's up, brother Michael Foster? Glad to have you on. Brother Lee Hall, glad to have you on. Uh, the greatest, brother Ramirez, where you been, man? Brother Larry, glad to have each of you on tonight. I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be a great show. So, like I said, though, I'm just waiting for brother King Musa and brother, I think his name is Jonathan G, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Just to give a call in tonight so we can have this discussion. And if anybody else wants to tune in, that number tonight is going to be 619. Let me put it up here real quick so you can have it. That number is going to be 619 985 1184 is the call in number tonight. I get it. You know what? I'm going to send a big shout out to all my brothers and sisters. Let me tell you why I'm sending each of you a big shout out. Because I've had brothers to give me a call during the day. I mean, I try to be accessible. Sometimes I'm not able to be, but for those of you who are able to give me that call and send well wishes. I appreciate that. So tell somebody about the show. Hit the like button. Hit the thumbs up. You know, let's get this thing going. And if you can do that, I certainly appreciate it. Hit the like. Hit the thumbs up. Share the videos. Tell somebody about us, because this show here is a little different from any other show that you may find. And you know, it's all about educating brothers on different topics in Freemasonry. And if you find that I've said anything wrong, and go look it up for yourself. That is the best thing you can do for yourself as a sister of the Order of the Eastern Star and a brother of the craft. Go look up the information for yourself. Then no one can tell you, nobody can take that from you. And then you begin to put together those dots and those missing pieces of the puzzle. Because as I matured in Freemasonry, from last year, even growth from a few months ago, things that I once thought and held dear to myself as far as Freemasonry is concerned, those things have continually changed and to evolve based on the information that I get, based on the research I go and find for myself. And I bring it, I share it, and I want you to do the same. Start developing yourself a library. Put together your own lectures. When you start to do that, man, you're going to see things a different way. This goes for the sisters too. Don't sit idly by and just think because you go to your chapter meetings, you're all right. You're not all right. You know, you can do better. Put together yourself your library. Put together yourself lectures. So when you go to your chapter meetings, when you go to your lodge meetings, you will be able to present these things to the craft and to the order. It just shows that you're not just only a member, but you are a member who's involved with the craft, who wants the craft to be educated, not just on the historical aspect of the various grand lodges and jurisdictions, but in the customs of Freemasonry in the Order of the Eastern Star. Because that's what we practice, that is what we say. And this thing is a serious thing. Being a member of the Eastern Star, being a Mason is something serious. But a lot of us take it lightly. We don't look at it for what it is. You know, one brother posted, how can Masons or how can Masonry make you a better man? First of all, you should already be a good man or a good woman or lady, whatever you want to use, when you come into this organization. We just amplifies that which is already part of you. If you are a Mason, an Eastern Star, and when you come into this organization, we amplify that. Now, if you whorish before you come here, you pimping and playing before you come here, well, that may be amplified also. But along the way, those things those working tools that we use in this organization, supposed to help you shape and form your life. That's what it's supposed to do. So as we begin to get into this discussion tonight, I'm going to start it off right now until Brother King Moussa give a call in, or anybody give a call in. First of all, I'm going to debunk some myths in regards to some of the things we've often heard in Freemasonry. One is that I mentioned the other day in regards to Moses being a Mason, in regards to some of the prophets in the Bible who I've heard they're Masons. They are not Masons. The only thing they come close to being Masons because they was builders of men. Now, if you want to consider that being a Mason, go right ahead. I can't kick that. But as far as being a part of the organization for which we know today, or being part of that, they were not. However, I would tend to lead toward the mere fact that they was initiated, some of them, into some of the mysteries of the sciences. And I would say Moses definitely was one that was initiated into the mysteries of the science because he grew up in Pharaoh's house. If you remember the story in regards to that, then hold on just a second. Hello.
Yeah, I was calling the other number, but it's going straight to voicemail.
Oh, okay. I don't know why is that, but then I got you. Hold on a second. Let me check something out.
Okay.
You said it was going straight to voicemail?
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
What you got?
I probably got my phone on some crazy thing. Go ahead and try to call me right now. I'm looking at it so I can
Okay.
I can go ahead and I got you covered. Your call, wait a minute, your call will not be able to complete. Call's not connected. Well, I hope that if in case he calls back, I hope he'll be able to call back. But anyway, let's talk about Moses. What's the great debate about? Oh man, it's not really a great debate, more so of a conversation piece, and along the way we will develop an ideal of ancient initiations, things of that sort. And I know we're not always going to agree on everything, so the debate part will come there, brother illuminating light. So that's where the debate becomes, that's where it comes into play. It's not necessarily where we're going to be going back and forth over argument debate, but more so of a conversation and a discussion. And this is what sets this page apart from anybody else. We want individuals to be part of the group, of the page. Everyone has access to it. You're not, whatever your jurisdiction is, it doesn't, we don't discriminate in regards to your jurisdiction or your affiliation. It's all about being part of this great organization. Hold on just a second, and let me see if I can probably just reach out to the brother myself. He keeps saying that it was going to voicemail. Let's see here. Turn off Wi-Fi calling. How in the heck did I do that? Okay, let's see what we can make happen. That's probably why I couldn't do what I was going to do earlier. Jeez. Well, I have a phone here, man, and I don't know what I've done to it, but apparently I've hit some type of settings and jacked it all up. I got my Wi-Fi. I'm connected to that. Okay, let me see. Maybe I can make a call out. But definitely that's what we're going to be talking about tonight in regards to the Masonic order. Turn on Wi-Fi calling. What? I don't know what I did to my phone. I jacked my phone up, and I'm going to have to figure this out. Your calls will not be able to be completed. In future, you would like to use Wi-Fi for voice calling. You can go and I don't want to do all that. I just want to be able to make a phone call on a damn phone and can't do it. Excuse my language, everybody. Oh, that's probably why. Let's see if I can make it happen this way. Oh, there you go. Got it. Yep. So if the brother want to call back in, he can call back in at the 619-9. There you go. How you doing there, my dear brother?
I figured you had it on airplane mode.
I did, man. I couldn't figure that thing out. I was like, what in the world is going on?
Oh yeah, that happened.
So, Brother King Moussa, hope you don't mind. I put your picture up there today.
Oh no, that's okay.
That's fine. Okay, I appreciate it. So, tell everybody about your page before we get started.
So yeah, my name is Moussa Gafreye, also known as King Moussa. I'm the current worshipful master at the Modern and Mystic Lodge of Masons here in Chicago, 60651. We are our mother lodge is the grand chapter of the Ineffable Craft of Mystic Masonry, and we are ordained or anointed, or what y'all call recognized by the French quarters, and we just do a lot of esoteric studies and understanding of initiations and different things like that, and specifically specialize in Rosicrucian degrees, obviously the college degrees of Scottish Rite and the York Rite degrees. And what we do is we applicate all of them esoteric. So again, I haven't stepped into a lot of the degrees because in our lodge we actually have to understand the degrees before we can earn them.
Right. So what I would like for everybody to do, if you don't have an opportunity to go by and check his page out, he got some hell of a deep videos on there, and I appreciate what he brings to the table. Also, if you don't mind hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel, we certainly appreciate that on both ends. So tonight, King Moussa, I began it off by talking about the very mystery schools that those patrons of long ago was introduced to, particularly Moses. If we know anything about Moses, we know that he was raised in the house of Pharaohs according to the scriptures, and that he was also initiated into those mystery schools. Some may tend to want to disagree with it, but those are just the facts. Because if you notice anything in the Bible, when Moses went back to see Pharaoh, the things that he was doing with his rod, Pharaoh was able to do also. So they're definitely letting you know they was dealing in magic. So let's just be real with it. Those prophets long ago dealt in magic. They dealt in the mystery school of science and what's the other one? Zodiac. They dealt in zodiac sign and
in astronomy.
in astronomy. So don't be so spooked about those things. We need to understand that those things have been around a long time, but for some odd reason we'll become scared or spooked and I don't want to deal in that. No, those are the very things we should be looking into. Really. So, King Musa, if you want to add something to it, go for it, my brother.
Yeah, as far as first of all, I think that a lot of people need to understand, like, when we talking about the analogy or the mythology of Solomon's temple, we have to understand that from the ethnic Jewish perception as well as the religious Jewish perception, they only see King Solomon as a symbol. So the texts that people are referring to usually come around like the 14th or 15th century. And this is what was found in a Latin grimoire called the Renaissance Magic. Well, that's what we call it today. So this grimoire is supposed to be the book or the mythos of the Christian mythology about the symbolism that magicians use.
Mm-hmm.
So by this is why you notice in that fellow craft degree, they don't ask you for a password, they ask you for the magic word.
The magic word.
So, the magic word. So that's like when you crossing that lake of death. So
okay.
like for me, like not getting too much into Masonic stuff. I like to, if you notice, I never talk about too much in-depth work as far as degree work with Masonry. I kind of stay away from that. I try to talk on open forums about the esoteric stuff to get people interested to ask a Mason.
But isn't that really what it's all about? I mean, because when you talk about the Masonic stuff, you're really talking about the crust. But when you really want to get into Masonry, you really have to go into the esoteric side of things to really understand where it comes from, right? I mean, am I right? I mean, help me out.
You do, because you gotta understand the whole premise of what they call in the key of Solomon is a conglomeration of alchemy, Kabbalism, what's it called? Yeah, alchemy, Pythagorism, Ulysses, and Orpheus.
Okay.
And the people from Greece and Rome. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So like they have certain practices, because people have to remember that what we call in modern masonry, because we have to remember that these are modern rites that we got that are replicating ancient practice or ancient customs.
Uh-huh.
So this is why I was telling a brother yesterday, we can't just look at Egypt. Although I understand the European construct or perception of Masonry primarily looks at Egypt as an older, advanced civilization. But the thing is, if you understand the story between the Dravidians and the Aryans, it's just like you study the story between the Palestinian Jews and the modern day Jews today. Mm-hmm. It's a similar war, because you got the Aryans that came in from Germany and Russia, and they invaded what we know today as modern day India Nepal and all of them areas right there, Sri Lanka and all of that. They came. That's why Adolf Hitler used the swastika, which is a symbol of the Aryan sun or the black or the symbol of the earth. So,
but see, you talk about that. You talk about that particular symbol that Hitler used. But a lot of us don't understand that symbol. So when we see it as something of hate. Would you mind breaking that down a little bit?
Yeah. So yeah, these symbols that we see, especially symbols like the Schwartz, which is black within itself. So when we looking at like where the symbols come from, it's just basically it's supposed to be clockwise, and this clockwise geometrics is supposed to be divine. You got to remember, this is a Ethiopic symbol that went to India. So it went to India. It came from West Africa and went to India. So that's why Queen of Sheba is very important in the Bible. Talk about I think they call it Oro. Don't quote me. Oro, description of India, because King Solomon was supposed to get a certain shipment of something every 3 days from them. And that's mentioned in First Kings. They talk about that. I can't remember the exact chapter and verse, but in First Kings it talk about how King Solomon had the relationships with India. You know what I'm saying? In particular. So the oneness. That's why I was telling the brother. I know a lot of people say that the rights come from Egypt, but they were filtered through Egypt and India and West Africa and what we know today is the North and Southern Americas. These were like grand lodges. All these major temples you see. That's why they studied the similar science. All of them had the same science. They just studied it in a different format. That's why the initiation rites is important, because if you understand the initiation rites, you understand why most brothers would speak in the terms and say, well, everyone is truly a Mason. Because when you start to understand the initiatory rites, you start to see that this is why cultures come into contact with each other and they amalgamate the way they do, because they find so many similarities in the cultures. You know,
that is the same thing that brother Christopher Jackson said last night, that there are brothers who are walking around who has never been initiated in the craft, but they are truly Masons.
Yeah, the way they carry themselves, the knowledge and information that they have, I think, because in my opinion, I remember before I actually got raised, I was like one of those people. I was real learned and I was studied, but you could try me and I would fail, basically, because I didn't have Masonic information. I had Masonic historical information, so I knew a lot about the history of Masonry, but you could tell once you started to speak to me that I wasn't initiated into the Masonry, into the craft.
And that is the difference when you begin to talk to people in regards to Freemasonry, is that the fact that you have been initiated into the craft. I can never go to a Christian or anybody who's been indoctrinated into their religious belief and tell them something about it. I mean, yes, I grew up in the Baptist church. Yes, at an early age, I accepted Jesus as my Lord and Savior, as most of us has probably done in a Baptist church, because my mama was there, my sisters and brothers was there. So I felt as if it was my need at that time to go and to do this, because if you in the South, we have a thing called the revival, fall revival. And then we have this thing we call the mourner's bench. This is where you go and prepare yourself for this journey. I mean, to me, I'm going to tell you straight up, it's all an initiation, right?
It is.
All of it.
This is why I always mention Hinduism or Brahmanism, because I know, like, this really my specialty, like Brahmanism, because, like, being a student of Dr. Malachi
Slaying in the spirit. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Being a student of Dr. York for almost 10 years, he studied heavily in the Sumerian doctrine. And by us being students of his, everything was Sumerian this, Sumerian that. So, like, we studied the subcultures or the cultures that surrounded and those that predated, like the Persian Empire, which is where the majority of these terms like Hindu, Aryan, and all of that come from. So they use this word Hindi as a description for black people.
Mm-hmm.
This is why they describe them different from the Aryans. The Dravidians was different from the Aryans. The Aryans, this is why Hitler calls the white right the Aryan nation.
Okay.
Because Aryan colorism by caste is created in India.
Mm.
That's why I was saying yesterday, Europeans are Asians. They come from the same genetic haplogroup.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So they're not like us. As so far as having the same key source, they separated at some point,
Mm-hmm.
and then they met another human being that was similar to us, which was also a Homo sapien, but it wasn't Homo sapien like we are modern man.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically created civilization because these were intelligent beings. They just were not Homo sapien. We
Mm-hmm.
gotta remember some of the oldest human-made tools for building, carving, and hunting are almost 50,000 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these rituals are very important when it comes to understanding the role that the Indians had on the development of Abrahamic religions, not Kemet. And I tell people this: the Commissions had a role in developing what we call spiritual correspondence.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're doing. They're saying, I can find all these correspondences in Egypt, therefore this is where the Abrahamics got their stuff from. But I say, from my own research and from what I've learned from my own master teachers, is that these particular people, especially if you know anybody like Baba Heru or Mufindisi or any of the brothers like that, they're quick to tell you about the West African influence on the development of Sudan into what we know is Kemet.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that Queen of Sheba was married, right?
Right.
To King Solomon.
Yep. Wait a minute. Back up. Some of us know that she was married to King Solomon, that they had a son that she took with her when she left, and then she brought him back to Solomon so he can raise him.
Exactly.
Okay. Go ahead.
If anybody know about Diodorus of Siculus in the first century, when he went, now here's a non-religious historian for Greece. You know, he was a recorder for their history. So when he went to Africa, he described the black people there to a T. And he said these are the same people that I seen when I went to the Indus Kush Valley. He said, I know they the same because not only are they dark complected, he said they hair texture, lips, and nose width is what gives their distinct features away. These are not the same people as the people that come from East, what they call the East Asia, like Tibet and all of that. But we were similar. He was like, we obviously the same people. He was like, they descend from us.
So
and this is the first century.
I have a question for you. Somebody asked, do you believe in the characters of the Bible?
No.
Well, there you go.
That's cut and dry. First of all, again, understanding what I study, especially if you're into philosophy like me, what it does, it doesn't restrict you to dogma.
Mm-hmm.
For me to personally believe in the characters in the Bible would mean I would have to substitute factuality for that of belief.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know there's no archaeological evidence for those people. I know there's never been a bone fragment, a hair follicle, or a tooth found for anybody mentioned in the Bible. So for me,
well, you know they have they claim to have the Shroud of Christ.
Yeah, the Shroud.
Yeah, the Shroud.
Yeah.
Now that's the claim.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. I'll believe that when I see Lazarus, because the Bible said it was only written for man once to die, and he told Lazarus come forth. So if man was only meant to die one time, and he resurrected Lazarus, either Jesus was resurrecting Lazarus in ritual, or he resurrected him in real life, and that man is still walking around here somewhere.
For real.
So I don't know.
I'm going to send Hillary Clinton a big shout out. She's watching tonight. I'm serious. I'm serious. I'm watching. I'm looking at the chat. The chat feed come up. It says Hillary. It says Hillary Clinton. Hi guys, it's me. Well, welcome aboard, Hillary.
Yeah, I just, for me, again, I understand the concept of what they call an anthropomorphism, which sometimes they call anthropomorphism, which is usually they attribute in attributes of nature, divinity, and in anthropomorphism, you're attributing human attributes, right, of divine nature to inanimate or things that wouldn't necessarily have those attributes.
So the reason they was asking you the question in regards to the Bible is because we keep mentioning it. And I'm gonna give my version of that. The reason I mention that is because so many of us are familiar with it. You know, and so many of us prescribe to that. So I tend to mention it because I want to be able to relate some things that I know in regards to scriptures that has been written down. I don't know as much as most do in regards to the Quran. I have one. Now I don't speak Arabic, nor do I read Arabic, because I have the one that's both Arabic and English, and I've learned that it loses its translation because some words cannot be transformed into the English language when they're spoken in Arabic. So therefore, I gather what I can, I learn what I can, and I give all I can back to those who may or may not know. So go ahead, Brother King.
Yes. And as far as me, the reason I utilize the Bible, because the Bible is a sacred text. The Bible is a conglomerated text, but within itself, it is sacred. It has helped build nations since its, inception in 1611. So for me, I understand that the Bible is a new text because I study theology, and anybody who's a Freemason should not be limited to the dogma of religion anyway.
But see, here's the thing. Here's what we come up to. When you say that, and you look at what we do in the Masonic lodges, and I will share this is what we do. We do have a Bible on the altar. And I say that because then it becomes that dogma. This is why I commend France and what they have done. They totally removed the Bible off, or they totally removed the Holy Book off, period. They're saying that, hey, look, this altar is accessible to any other faiths. You know, we just won't put one in particular on there. But if you choose to take your obligation on one, that's on you. So that's where that's at, you know, and I would imagine this is how it was in the beginning. But because we have placed the Bible is such a book of holy references, it is now placed on every Masonic altar per se around the world. And there's nothing wrong with that. But as you mature in Freemason, you will learn that how is it that you're going to accept everyone as an individual with the various faiths, but your Bible is the one that is the only one on the altar? It can't be. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but you know that comes from politics. That religion the religion as we know it today, as dogmatic as it is based in a control force of politics. This is a fact. This is why the Roman Catholic Church outlawed Freemasonry, because Freemasonry at one point they didn't have nothing on their altar. Okay, they had the 3 lights. 3 lit candles. Right. So they had these
with a compass and square now.
I was definitely gonna get to that. With the compass and square, and in some instances they even had the cut and uncut stone present as well. Right. So for us to understand that the books were something that were newly added, we have to understand that if we're not studying, this is why I always tell people, study Rosicrucianism. Rosicrucianism will show you why Freemasonry developed and became the giant it is.
But even though you would say that, for those who should know, Rosicrucian, when you go into appending bodies of the Scottish Rite, is a degree that's already there. You just have to seek and find it. It's already there.
Yeah, it's definitely there, and I think once they get to that degree, they should stay there for a minute. Don't be in a rush to get another. You know what I'm saying? Another level, and just say, "Oh, I got this rank, and now I'm this." I think for me personally, as a young 30-year-old Mason, the best thing that I've ever done was dwelled in that type of information, because Rosicrucian information is the foundation of all the mysticism that is found in Freemason.
Really?
And I would challenge anybody on that, because the people who actually wrote the manifesto, the Fama Fraternitatis, the first manifesto that was released in 1420. 1420. There was a secret society that studied the esoteric divinity of Christ. Was Jesus God? They were like Hindus. These were a bunch of Christian monks that went and sat amongst the Hindus, and they perfected their doctrine of Christianity, and they called it a new doctrine, and they called it the Biblios. So what you
I've heard of that.
Yeah, that's why the Bible was found nowhere in the Bible except on the cover of the Bible, because it is a book of creation. It is new. And people don't like when you say that, but the Bible is a Masonic text within itself. That's why the 1611 King James Version is the most honored Bible in America. Not the Lutheran Bible. not the Puritan Bibles.
Right.
But that 1611 King James Version.
But that 1611 King James Version is kind of hard to come across every now and then.
Hey, I got one.
Oh, you need to share your information, sir.
Yeah, the Hebrew Israelites here in Chicago, there's a lot of them. That Bible in particular is one of them Bibles that's easy to come across, just like the Apocryphas.
Really?
It's easy. Yeah, it's easy to come across stuff here because, again, we got that community of Hebrew Israelites, and then we got the oldest Moorish Science Temple here in Chicago on Augusta and Walcott. I can walk there from my house.
Wow.
So that's one of them things that I learned being from Chicago. I was always taught Middle Eastern forms of Hinduism, which is something that Hindu doctrine teaches. It teaches that each race of people got their own prophet.
Wow.
Yeah,
each race of people have their own prophet. I can believe that.
Yeah,
I can go for that.
That's why if you look at the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and people don't like when I say this, I say, why did he say W.D. Fahd Muhammad was Allah in the flesh? When we know, if you read the actual Quran and Sunnah, especially if you read in Hadith or Tafsir, which is the Islamic histories, you will know that is haram. To even say that out of your mouth is blasphemy. To say that Allah appeared in a person, that's just like you saying Jesus is the Son of God. That's haram. That's not halal.
Okay.
So for them, today I understand why the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said that. That's why I honor him regardless. Like, I used to get into it with Sunni Muslims a lot because they'd be like, "Ooh," I say, "You don't understand initiation." They'd be like, "We do. That's a Masonic organization." And I'll be like, somewhat. I'm like, I see it got elements, but it's more so based in the Hindu tradition of the Creator manifesting in man's form, picking a student, and that student going out to teach the rest of the world. They call it dogma.
Right.
In Hinduism. Which is like Tawhid in Islam. You're supposed to go out and propagate the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the Quran. So once you come out of this certain information, you're supposed to be able to understand, like, I, as the individual, have achieved buddhi, or intellect, a high enough intellect to become who is the Buddha, or a Swami, which is a Lord or Master. And now you coming into this divine light of self, which is what they say Jesus did, which is why the Sadducees and Pharisees did not like him, because of him being a part of the Essene Council. And we know at that time they had Hellenistic Jews. So what was the Hellenistic Jews? They was the Jews who had picked up the customs of the Greeks. But these customs that the Greeks got, where'd they get them from? They got them from the Egyptians. but they also talk about Oro again, which is India. They talk about the Indus Kush Valley there. They talk about that, and I think that's one of them things that's not really spoken about, but people don't focus on what the words mean in the Bible.
Okay, so before you go on, I just want to send a big shout out to everybody that's tuning in tonight. I want to say thank you for coming in, and as we proceed and you know, really gain some knowledge in regards to the ancient custom of Freemasonry, Rosicrucian, and other elements that play a part in Freemasonry that we don't necessarily talk about. This show is dedicated to this. This show is also dedicated and open forum to anybody who wants to call in and be a part of it, regardless of your jurisdiction. Hold on just a second for me.
Yeah, see, I just read the brother Illuminati Light comment. I think he misunderstood what I said. I didn't say that the Rosicrucian was older than Freemasonry. I said that the manifesto, Fama Fraternitatis, was released before the establishment of First Grand Lodge in 1717. That's a historically documented fact.
Okay.
So,
and that's some of the things we have to look at. What was written down in regards to that? That's why a few weeks ago when I did the video on the big lie in regards to Freemasonry and how these degrees came about and they were sold. It dealt in religion. It was all in religion. And I mean how that brother, he went among the Jesuits and he hid and he began to dibble and dabble and come up with these degrees, and they was not really ancient, and you know, it's just a whole lot, man. But what we get and what we tell people when we're so excited about this organization, we like to brag about it, and there's nothing wrong with bragging about it. The ideal is do you understand the thing that you are a part of?
Yeah, see, because the Fama Fraternitatis, right, is the first one was released in 1420. Right, but the one that is on record for actually being the one that impacted everybody is in the year 1614. Okay, now this is from the fraternity of the Rose and Cross in 1614. Again, this information that I'm talking about is before the establishment of the Grand Lodge of Freemasonry as we know it in 1717.
Okay, so the question is there one Rosicrucian Rose Cross organization that one can join?
No. Because that's the thing with Rose and Cross. The Rosicrucians that people reference today is usually Reuben Swinburne Clymer and Christopher Lewis. They used to go back and forth about Dr. Pascal Beverly Randolph's work of the Euless, which is the science of love.
Okay.
So he's the one that they say is the original Doctor Strange. He came with this new information, and in his books he stands tall on the fact that you won't find his information in any other Rosicrucian books or any other Masonic books of other organizations that he met. Now this brother, Dr. Pascal Beverly Randolph, is another brother who needs to be spoken about heavily because he established the oldest Rosicrucian order here in America, a black man. Okay, and the reason that they challenged his establishment of this order is because of his strong stance and position on black people making a great migration out of North America back into either Africa or India. And because he felt like we was inevitably doomed here.
And that's why it's important if you would look at I want to say the 18th degree. I think, brother.
Yes, the 18th and 19th.
Yeah, 18th degree. Is that? I think it's on the Scottish Rite side. Let's see.
Yeah, that's on the Scottish Rite.
The Knights of the Rose Cross. Absolutely. Yeah. And that degree is a very important degree. Okay, I'm back. Damn, I'm in color now. I don't even understand it, bruh. I don't even understand it. I could not tell you. You know what? I'm gonna have to check and see if somebody like watching my feed or something. I was in black and white. Now I'm back in color. I don't even understand it. But go ahead, as you were saying, Brother King Moussa.
Yeah, so I was just talking about Dr. Pascal Beverly Randolph and the reason that I always mention him because he was born in 1825 on October 8th, right? And he was born before the Reconstruction. He was born before the abolition of slavery. And one of the things that you'll notice is that when he died in 1875, Reconstruction happened around 1864, 1865, 1866, 1867. So for about 5 years, Black people was involved in politics, and we could freely roam the country without being considered property.
Right.
This is when Dr. Pascal Beverly Randolph made his impact. And because he had such a strong impact, and because he was Black, you had people like Madam Helen Blavatsky, who spoke highly of him as far as his intelligence and mysticism went. She would die to have his manuscripts. She said it herself. She's like, man, what I wouldn't give to have his manuscripts and been to places he's been and sat with the masters he sat with.
Right.
Because they knew he was exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're talking about transcendentalism and mirror scrying and psychic abilities and tarot card reading and all of that, you got to thank him first.
Okay.
Then they get into all that wacky white people stuff with Aleister Crowley and them.
Oh, man.
This is why I be telling people, man, when Masonry formed, a lot of Europeans was clandestinely practicing African traditions and perverting them. This is why when I initiated into my Ile, I took a vow. My daughter's mother is white. I took a vow not to teach Europeans. There's certain stuff that she be wanting to learn. I could teach her some things, but I can't teach her everything.
Wait a minute.
Now,
wait. Back up. You said you took a vow not to do what?
To teach Europeans.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So for us, that's not something new.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just a specific thing. Why? Because it's an ancestral practice. And because I had to go through an entire 3-day initiation just to be properly received by the spirits. Okay, so this is why I say the Ethiopians affected the development of Brahmanism, which in turn became Hinduism, which in turn became Abrahamic religions.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you look at Ethiopia, the Emperor Haile Selassie is the only person on the planet that has ever proved his bloodline lineage to any of those Bible people.
Really?
You bring me one European that's ever been able to prove their lineage outside of some BS they done made up.
Hold on just a second. Hold on. Hello.
Hotep, this is Brother Joseph Wiseman Ross.
Well, welcome to the show, Brother Joseph. Glad to have you on. I have Brother King Moussa on the other line, so I'm quite sure he can hear you. Can you hear him, Brother King Moussa?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I have Brother Joseph on the other line. You can go ahead and team in, Brother Joseph. Go ahead. I don't know if you've been listening to the show tonight or not.
Well, I was looking for the show. I was looking for it, and I guess it got started kind of late, so I kind of went back to my reading and studying. But it's good to be here. It's good to be here. Okay.
Yeah, we got started about 7:10. But however, tonight we're just talking about some of the patrons of long ago being initiated into the mystery schools such as Moses or Solomon, and and we're talking about, did these individuals even exist? So that's a topic. So we're just kind of going back and forth and learning and kind of grabbing onto that and having a better understanding of the thing that we are a part of, this Freemasonry.
Beautiful. And go ahead and finish, and I'll jump in where I need to.
Okay, so earlier it was asked if any of the individuals that I mentioned in the Bible, that Inium exist. And King Moussa strictly said, no, they didn't exist. Now, I don't know. I can just say, flat out, I don't even know. But based on information that is at hand, archaeology and all of that stuff, they said no. However, for me, it's really up in the air. I just don't know. Until I find my own truth to that, I'm going to leave it at that.
me personally, dipping into the history of Islam, I've dipped into, and when I say dipped into the history of Islam, as well as Judaism and the three monotheism religions of going through the Torah as well. In all honesty and actuality, Brother Moussa is very right on that subject.
Okay.
I mean, when you go back and study the history, and we're talking about the true facts, we're not talking about what some man has wrote in a book and tried to demonstrate. We're talking about actually what was written on the walls of the times of the times that these people were supposed to have walked the earth and existed.
Mm-hmm.
And we can even go so far as back to say Jesus, because if you go into the Book of the Living, which I'm familiar with, and I know most of you brothers are familiar with the Book of the Living. I'm not talking about the Book of the Dead, but the Book of the Living.
Okay.
This is a book that was written. It's called the Egyptian Book of Life. It's a true translation of actually the book of the Egyptian Book of the Dead. And this book is written by Dr. Ramsey Salim. When you go into that, and when you go into that knowledge, he gives you those references to go back to and check those references out.
Mm-hmm.
But on the walls of ancient Egypt, we never have a mention of these individuals. I mean, and even Brother Dr. Ben himself, he gave a lot of information. There's numerous books that has already been written to cast a very dark shadow over these theories of these individuals who's supposed to have been around at this time.
And
so, very right on that subject.
And as I was saying earlier, we who are of religious faith, and I say religious very loosely, and I say that only because even in our own acceptance of the faith, we find ourselves being initiated. And a lot of people said, no, it's not. It is truly an initiation process.
Definitely.
And I can break that whole thing down. I don't care if you're Baptist, Catholic, Jehovah's Witness. I don't care what your faith may be. When you become part of a religious organization, you are initiated. Period. And I can prove that. It's not hard to prove. It took me some time to understand it. But boy, once I got it, I was like at an aha moment, like eureka, really.
Well, and see, the three monotheism religions, and I'm just going to speak on the three for right now. I'm not even going to get into the Hindu text, I'm not going to get into those others. I'm just going to stick to the main three right now. Because, you know, as we know, it took 3 to kill the master.
Right.
Originally, it was 15 that plotted, but only 3 was actually needed.
Mm-hmm.
And these 3 represent monotheism religion. It was only 3 that was actually needed to kill the true teachings of ancient Egypt and the teachings of the secret orders.
Mm-hmm.
And see, when I talk about ancient Egypt, I'm talking about, when we talk about ancient Egypt and what they practice, we're not talking about a religion. We're talking about an actual way of life.
Right.
We're dealing with stars. We're dealing with signs. We're dealing with maths.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you go into the Egyptian book of the light of life, this book that they wrote predates Judaism, predates Christianity, even Islam.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we're talking about the book is attributed. This book is attributed to Atum.
Mm-hmm.
And Atum was represented as the father source, you know. And so we look at the stories that they have pulled, and all these stories that they have. These stories are old stories. These stories was already given to the ancient Egyptians, who passed them on to the Jewish faith,
Mm-hmm.
and the Jews on to the Christians, and then it went on down to the Islam.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing but a python. It's nothing but a snake eating its tail. That's it.
But see, that's why I try to explain to people, even on that little decal that you get and you stick it on the back of your car, a lot of them don't understand why the snake eat the tail. The feminist side of man.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. And see, you have a snake that crawls on its belly and one that flies in the sky.
Ooh.
This is a fact.
Now, you don't have to talk about that one, brother. You're going to talk. I'm listening. I'm all ears on that one.
So Brother Moussa was right when he directed. You brothers are right on point. But that goes back to what you were saying last night about getting into the rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to me, there is no. There's light and dark, but there is no good and evil. In my understanding of what I have found, this is what I have found.
Okay.
There's, you know, there is a balance, though. There is a balance that must be kept.
Mm-hmm.
And me, I walk a gray line. Even in the Quran, I believe Allah Sallallahu says keep the middle course.
Well, now I'm gonna go with the other scripture that says, you know, hey, you either have to be hot or cold. There's no middle ground. I mean, hey, I just can't let you walk in and say that without knowing that those who are watching tonight is saying, well, you know, the Bible says, you know, you either have to be hot or cold. It doesn't give you a middle ground.
Yep.
So what do you say to that?
It does say that, but for me, that is for those who can't keep the balance. Because you know, like I know, that when we look at the scales of justice over here in America, you see the scales are tilted.
And justice is blind. Justice is damn sure blind over here, let me tell you. But go ahead.
But when we look at the scales from the Egyptian point of view of the underworld, we see that they are equally balanced.
That is true. That is true.
So justice is in the hands, or let me say, and we know that the sword represents justice. You know, all of us are familiar with the symbolisms of things.
Mm-hmm.
We know that justice is represented by the sword, and that sword that is imbalanced there. How can you be a true judge?
Mm-hmm.
We know that America and our culture, and this is the most beautiful culture. This is the most beautiful country in the world right now. I mean, right now in this day and age, when I say that, I'm not talking about geographically. I'm talking about material.
Mm-hmm.
Freedom-wise, this is the most beautiful country in the world, freedom-wise. And just like ancient Egypt, we know that we have monuments, we have school systems,
mm-hmm.
we have everything set up in a certain order. Everything is in an order. Mm-hmm. Nothing is really out of order. It may appear to be chaos, but there's always order.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, we have to look at our monuments. Look at how everything is set up. Everything was set up strictly off the codes of ancient Egypt.
That is true. That is a fact, and that really can't be debated. It really can't.
And right now, to this day, even since they've stumbled upon Egypt, the ancient Greeks, and the Persians, and the Sumerians, even to this day, right now, everything in our society and in our system has been geared toward keeping it along the system that ancient Egypt was running off of. It doesn't mean that they haven't implemented other things from other cultures.
Right.
We know that other cultures have given a lot to this civilization,
mm-hmm.
but we're not the blueprint. See, there's a difference between giving something, being a light barrier, and actually furnishing the light for which one has.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to the source. We want to talk about the source. I don't want to talk about those who are holding the light, who are keeping it from burning out. God bless their souls. But let's talk about the ones who gave us the light. And so when we talk about America and what's going on right now, just as, for example, let's just say that, and I think we hit on this topic once before, but I'm going to use it again. Right now, the best and the brightest minds are here in America.
Mm-hmm.
When you people from all over the world, China, Asia, all those countries, Middle East, wherever you want to call it, they're sending their best minds here.
Mm-hmm.
They're not beating down the door of Great Britain. They're really not. They're not beating down the doors of China. They're not beating down the doors of India. They're not beating down the doors of Saudi Arabia to get into their finest schools. The finest schools are right here in America. With that knowledge being transferred throughout the world, you have to sit back and ask yourself, what is it that we have that's so great? we have the same mystery system that was propagated and given to those in ancient Egypt. We're living in those day and times right now.
Mm-hmm. So saying that, do you think that America is the second Babylon?
It depends on what perspective you're looking from.
Okay.
If we're focused just on the negative, or if we're focused just on the positive, that's really in the eye of the beholder.
Well, I want to try to keep it balanced. I mean, because when you say how great America is, and and I'm not going to go either way with that. But when you say how great it is, and the system that we have is based on an African system per se, but it depends on how you practice that. And we like I said, I read the Bible, I read the Quran. Those are two books that I actually have. I had Africa. I don't know where I put that to, but so in reading these different books, it talks about a second Babylon. So that's why I asked that question.
Well, I'm gonna let Brother Moussa answer that for me. Go ahead, Brother Moussa.
Oh, he passed the ball, huh? He chest passed it. There you go.
But, for me, this is why I always refer to the Vedic texts. The Rig Veda are the oldest written religious texts in continual use. So we know that there's nothing older than the pyramid text.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're talking about religious scripture that's been in continual use, 3,500 years at least, the Vedic text has been in use in consistency without change or alteration.
Mm-hmm.
I know Muslims like to say the Quran's never been altered. Christians would be like the Bible just the way it need to be. But when it comes to the Vedic text, that's like the only scripture that hands down that hasn't been altered.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't dogmatize the teachings. And the reason I mention this because you asked it's going to be a Babylon. I understand what Babylon is. Babylon is what they call the kingdom of Nimrod.
Okay.
Or that Sumerian energy
Mm-hmm.
that rise again. That's why all them the Islamic Brotherhood was over there destroying them Sumerian artifacts.
Okay.
It was literally destroying some of these artifacts 7,000-8,000 years old. They destroying them.
You're talking about during the time when they had the war over there, right?
Yeah, this was recent, like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they doing that. So that let me know that they are what I personally believe, what my teachers always tell me, is that these religious fanatics are forcing the biblical prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
That fanaticism forces these prophecies to come to pass because people want them to, like this whole building of the third temple they speaking about now in Jerusalem.
See, people don't know. Now look, if you are a Royal Archmason, we speak of 2 temples being destroyed in the Royal Arch degree. Now there's supposed to be a 3rd temple erected. And in the 3rd temple, it will bring back the sacrifices.
Sacrifice.
Now they're actually talking about building a 3rd temple. Am I right or wrong, gentlemen? Help me out now.
You're absolutely right.
So what do you think? Huh?
They actually are, because one of the major rabbis over in Israel actually asked Netanyahu, what was he doing to hurry up the coming of the Great War?
Right. Oh, the war gonna come, but go ahead.
But my question is, and like I said, we have to be careful when mixing the teachings, because we can take the biblical scriptures for what they are worth. And just in all honesty, they're not worth very much. Mm-hmm. This is my personal belief. This is not to bash on anybody's personal religion or anything like that. I know that we have brothers of different faiths. But in my personal belief, all of this is pretty much made up. The biggest majority made up. Now, there are some real characters here and there. It's not to say that there's not some real characters that's playing these roles.
Uh-huh.
But for the most part, if I was to take the Torah, the Bible, or the Quran for face value, Well, God comes off to be very spooky. He comes off to be very mean. He comes off to be a jealous God. And to me, that's just not the grand architect of the universe.
Okay, so I'm going to add something to that. So Elliot McCoy, if I'm not mistaken, he says, now with all of this knowledge that is going forth, explaining why there is no change, explain why there's no change in the black race of today. Truly, there should be something that should have within the power that is going forth. I'm gonna give it to you from this point of view there, brother Elliot McCoy. The reason you don't see the change, it's not going to happen for everybody because everybody isn't ready for it. And if I told you half the stuff that I know and I truly believe in from my studies and from the activities that I participated in, you would probably call me a madman or crazy. And that's the first thing people do when they don't want to accept something other than what they already been told or they're so deeply embedded in. Now, we have been over here almost 400 and some years over in this country. Everything we thought we knew, we are just really beginning to peel back the skins and even understand who we are. Because we know that the government has always played a hand at keeping us divided, keeping us ignorant, keeping us blind. There was even a paper that was written by J. Edgar Hoover that clearly stated they did not want us to have any light, no knowledge, period. So the little stuff we're getting, and for those of us who are coming into ourselves, who are building a new temple, which is the individual, we are waking up. We are like like-minded. But everybody is not ready for that picture. So to say that what's going on with the black race, everybody just isn't ready for that. If I told you I know how to make $1 million and this is how you do it, some people are going to be very skeptical. They're not going to invest. They're going to sit back and watch. And then when the money is being made, they'll say, man, if I'd have just got into it right then, I could have been rich. But it's just the way it is. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, from my perspective, I think as far as like the black race goes, like I said, me being considered still youth in a lot of ways, I look at my life, how I try to affect the younger people younger than me, because they see me and where I come from, and they look at me and they ask me how I got there. And one of the things I noticed when I was 15, 16, I would ask my elders. And I remember, I was born in 88. I remember my mom's 61. She got hit with the crack epidemic. Wow. My mom been sober 29 years. Mm-hmm. You know, my mother got sober when I was 11 months. So my mother been sober 29 years. Mm-hmm. So she coming up on her 30th anniversary. So for me to understand that this is the thing that's important for our youth to see, we need, when people ask for help, we gotta be willing to help them. And I noticed when I was coming up, a lot of the elders didn't help us. That's one of the reasons why the generation is so lost now, because I look at all the kids I went to school with, they was having kids at 15, 16. Wow. I'm 30. My oldest child is 3 years old.
Well, see, you just like my son. My son's just a couple of years older than you, and he just had his first. But absolutely, and I find that in saying that, I would say that the parents, as you said, really needs to be involved. And I would say this as a parent. And now I'm considering the old head. You know, like I told my kids a long time ago when they were small, I was a child once. I was truly a child once. I know you look at me as the know-all because I'm dad, but I was a child once. So when you get in trouble, don't think I'm just going to be angry at you all the time. You're a kid. You're going to learn. You're going to make mistakes. Like,
you know? My son know that. He know he can't get in trouble for something unless he broke something. He know he go to the corner or he got to do front lean and rest. Other than that, he don't get whooped or none of that. He don't get yelled at. I try my best not to, resubmit the same type of energy his mother do. Right, I remember when I was being a little boy, and by the time I was 8, I didn't care about my mama yelling. I knew all she was gonna do was yell. Right. I knew I had to really do something to make her come in there and whoop me. So I think That's one of the things that the youth is yearning for. They just yearning for because when you talk about the black race, you gotta start with the young people first. The elders are set in their ways.
Absolutely.
I had to learn this the hard way when it came to awakening the conscious minds of my elders. I used to get sent to synagogues and mass to challenge rabbonis and sheikhs. Like, my teacher wouldn't tell me go. He'd be like, go find the sheikh. I'd be like, what about the imam or the ulema? He'd be like, no, I want you to go challenge the sheikh. I'd be like, yeah, because you think you know everything. So I want you to go talk to him. And I'd go up in there and have to sit down, and the sheikh would school me, spank me, mop the floor with me. And it was because I had to be put into the other child again to learn. But because, again, I was young, I didn't have a problem learning. But if I was to go through that same process today, knowing some of the stuff I know, I would refuse to submit in a lot of areas.
Right. So I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna answer a question real quick, and both of you can team in on this. One brother said that the war won't start until the rock is removed, and somebody said, "What is that rock?" Well, we know that over in I say Egypt, but the rock of the dome.
Talking about in the Kaaba.
Yeah. So when
the dome of the rock. Palestine.
Right, over in Palestine, when they take down that gold dome, all hell gonna break loose, because they've already moved the capital to Jerusalem. They've done that already, and you saw what happens. But when they mess with that dome, it's a done deal.
Yes, that dome is sacred to both Israelis and Muslims.
Absolutely.
You gotta remember, they cousins. They fight. They having an internal family feud right now.
That's right.
And that's what it is. I mean, because both of these groups are the same father.
Right.
I mean, they both, according to their biblical scriptures, they both come from the same father. Yep. And this old battle with Isaac and Ishmael, it's coming to a head. But it must come to a head. It must be a cleansing. It must be some type of cleansing. But also, at the same token, you have to ask, where do Africans stand in this case? Where do we stand? Because we have African American, we have plenty of Africans that are Muslims. We have plenty of Africans that are Christians. And we have plenty of Africans that do study the Hebrew text. And so now we see a division. We see the division. We see the play. But are we going to fall for it? Can brothers, and it's going to take brothers, it's going to actually take brothers who will cross each line. And when I say each line, I mean brothers who are Masons and Muslims, brothers who are Masons, brothers who are Masons and Christians. Because we understand the deeper meaning of these texts. And so understanding these texts and being able to apply them to our lives and save ourselves is critical at this time. Just the other night when I made the statement, and it was a statement that was made, and I love what Brother Moussa said about when he was young, because I strongly believe in a lot of the texts. Even though I may not see myself as religiously inclined to be religious anymore, I still believe in some of the texts where in the Bible,
me too.
That your young man shall have visions, your old man shall have dreams.
Right.
So what we're dealing with now is a new age. We're dealing with a new temple being born. But that true temple, I don't believe it's necessarily just a physical temple. I believe it's also.
So I'm gonna interject real quick. I have a message that popped up, and it was from A. Mitch, and he says, "Why are Negroes getting involved in feuds that should not concern us?" Well, now
because those Negroes is conquered. That's why.
So
those Negroes is conquered.
Absolutely. So I'm going to add this to. I'm gonna add this, and then Brother Jonathan, you can jump right in. You know, it's not about getting involved. It's about understanding or overstanding, however you want to use that term. That's what it's about.
Well, it's just like, not to cut you off, brother, but I'm just going to say this. It's this. My point of view on that is just as the Palestinians or the Arabs are fighting for Palestine, and the Jews are fighting for Israel, as I posed the question, if the Arabs want back Palestine, why can't us Africans have back North Africa?
Mm-hmm.
If you want Palestine, if you're creating so much bloodshed behind that little piece of land, shouldn't we be doing the same thing for North Africa?
Whoa. Whoa.
I mean, you know, we can take it to different levels. We can go there.
Uh-huh.
I only go there with, you know, but I only go there with brothers who are there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I like what he said, because like for me that play a part in ADOS. If y'all familiar with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's something that like my generation is actually like one of the people that's like super behind it, because me growing up in Humboldt Park in Chicago, there's a lot of Puerto Ricans in my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it being a lot of Puerto Ricans in my neighborhood, I hear the word nigga a lot, coming from Puerto Ricans, which we here in Chicago, just like in many other places, don't really too much distinguish ourselves, because you could walk into a white-skinned Puerto Rican house and their daughter would be blacker than 10 midnights. You know what I'm saying? So
well, we all know why. We all know why.
Well, yeah, but they do too, and they tend to embrace it a lot more than other Hispanic cultures.
Okay.
So we don't have friction with them, because like you'll see people over here, like they call me Prieto Chulo, which basically means like a handsome black man.
Uh-huh.
So that's like they nickname for me though, because a lot of the girls be like, oh, you hands, blah, blah, you're not. They say you're not like other black men. And you know, for a long time when I was young, I used to kind of look at that weird. Never thought it was a compliment because of the way I was raised. And but as I got older, I started asking them, like, what do you mean I'm not like other black men? And the first thing they said was, well, you cultured. And I'm like, huh? And I realized, like, my dad being a Muslim, my father is conquered by Sunni Islam. Like, he's more Arab than the Arabs.
Damn.
And yeah, that's the thing about being a black Muslim. Like, there's a caste system in Islam that's not spoken about.
Okay.
Like, Muslims will be like,
that caste system is also in the Hindu culture as well.
That's where it comes from.
Yeah. That's part of the Asian creed.
Yeah, because the Pakistanians and Hindus is the same people.
Exactly.
They different tribes.
And when I first came into Islam, I came into Islam in 1985. And I was about, actually, I was younger than that. I was 15. 45. And when I came into Islam,
I'm losing your signal, bro. You're going to have to speak up a little bit.
Okay, can you hear me now?
There you go.
Okay, I came into Islam in 1995, really. I studied it a little bit from a distance, about 1988. But I actually took my Shahada over on Hardwood in South Dallas. And anybody that's online familiar with South Dallas, you're familiar with Hardwood Masjid. It was up under Imam Yahya, exactly. One of the most famous imams here in Dallas, Fort Worth area.
I heard that name before.
Yes, sir. And I sat in the masjid, and at this time, the masjid was predominantly African American, and it still is to this day. But at that, it was a point in time in history that the Arabs would come to the masjid and visit the masjid and be right there with you. Now, they would keep their wives mostly at home and their daughters at home. But they would come to the masjid, your same masjid, your African-American masjid, they would be there. After a period of time, once more of them came here to this country, they separated themselves and started building their own masjids. Now, the area I currently stay in, which is Allen, Texas, it is a nice upscale, middle class, upper class area. It's one of the most predominant areas in the whole Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's where you want to be. And when you come out here, there is no black masjids. There's only Arab masjids, or let me say Asian masjids, or they're all broken up into their different groups. But what I'm saying is, when African Americans opened up the door, the African American Muslims opened up the door for them to be able to come here and be able to prosper and have that business. But now that they have prospered, they have left our messages and formed their own messages and broke away from us like everybody else do. So when we get to talking about different races, and like I say, it's impossible for me to be I think we're all racist in a form of fashion, but it's impossible for me to be what's the word I'm looking for, brother Moussa?
I think you're saying we're all prejudiced in some fashion, but it's hard for us to be racist.
Yeah.
Racist.
It's impossible for me to be a racist, But at the same token, I acknowledge the differences in the races, and I respect those differences. But
well, check this out then. So I'm gonna go back to King Moussa, and this was just posted. I hadn't. It's still here, but I'm gonna show it. Jerry House, Jerome. I think it's Jerry or Jerome House. He says, "Why do we embrace the word nigger? We should ignore that word. It does not belong to us, to the black race. It belongs to those who act like one."
He said what?
Okay, he said, why do we embrace the word nigger? We should not embrace that word. It doesn't belong to us. It belongs to those who act like one.
Well, we embrace, I know in my generation, and just to answer the brother's question, I don't believe in Allah. Okay? Let me make this clear. I don't believe in any God. I'm not bound by any religion because of my father or my mother or any of that. I am proficient in the study of Islam, and I understand that a lot of black men enter the schools of mystery often come through the lens of Islam. So I will never bash Islam, nor would I ever bash any belief system that my brothers are still within themselves. Just because I don't believe in it don't mean I gotta beat it. And I think that's one of the problems with conscious people. They think they gotta beat up believers, and that's not necessary. But as far as the word nigger goes, my generation uses it because they use it as an embraceful term as far as in a way of deeming to take power. My brother, 39 years old, my oldest brother, and he really came up in a generation when they was really using it first. Like my mom say back when she was young, she heard it, but it wasn't something that was normally used. But she's 61. She said, they said nigga when I was a kid, but it wasn't normalized like it is today.
No, yeah, it was. Let me tell you why it was. If you look at any of the movies long ago, including the
talking about some black exploitation films?
I love those movies. But if you look at the Jeffersons, even if you look at the Jeffersons, which was predominantly a 70s sitcom, moving on up, George Jefferson, that white guy on there used the word nigger. George used the word hunky. If you look at All in the Family, they use the word. It's here. Now, some like it, some don't.
No, I'm saying as far as like the usage of popularity, like in the 70s, I get that. But there was no black, my mother said there was no black people walking around just saying, "What's up, my nigga?" Like
no, it wasn't. I can agree to that. It was very. It was saying. Yeah.
I grew up off 70s sitcoms because I was born in the 80s. So I grew up watching George Jefferson. When him having them neighbor come from upstairs to walk on his back, I used to watch all that stuff in syndication when I was a kid.
Right.
So I grew up off Perry Mason and watching Matlock, like literally with my grandmother. So like. I used to watch all of that type of stuff, and all of that stuff resonated with me to understand this divine nature undogmatically. See, I'm not dogmatic in my search for the divine reality. I still use Islam. I still use Judaism. I still use Christianity. I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater and be like, there's no value in the Bible. There's no value in the Quran. There's no value in the Torah. That's a lie.
But see, you can say that because you have been introduced, or you have opened several portals, or doors, or however you got to where you're at. A lot of people don't want to tread. A lot of people don't want to go that direction. This is why I say a lot of times, a lot of brothers don't want to go down a rabbit hole. That's why they got to drop breadcrumbs. And to answer Brother Christopher Jackson's question tonight, really, Brother Jackson, we'll talk about the ancient mysteries as far as those biblical scholars and those individuals who are in the Bible. Were they Masons and were they introduced into the schools of science and you know, we're talking about that, and it's just really taking, this whole thing is really kind of taking a shape of its own. But that was the night topic, was debating those very things that we're talking about, or having a good conversation. I doubt this is a debate, but more of a good conversation piece.
For sure.
So we're about at 126. We're about at 126 in. I have somebody else that wanted to call in and talk. So I'm gonna put this number up. So whoever calls in first, get it. When I'm gonna add the number is 619-985-1184. If you want to call in right now, you're certainly welcome to do so. I'll add you to the show. We got a few minutes left. I'm not gonna hold everybody long tonight, but that number again is 619-985-1184. So if you want to call in tonight, you're certainly welcome to do so. And we won't hold you long. I'm not going to hold you long tonight. I think the tonight's show has been totally awesome. The ideal is I don't want everybody trying to pop off and lead negative stuff. I need some positive energy up in here. I can't be having that negative stuff.
Well, let's talk about the Arcanian Freemasonry.
Arcanian Freemasonry?
Yes, sir.
Oh, let's go at it.
Let's go into the Arcanian of Freemasonry. And let's talk about the works of the revolution and the sun and the moon and the stars and the rituals of ancient Egypt and how they apply to our Freemasonry today. Because we know as Freemasons, we know that story of Hiram Abiff, and we know that story is an old story that was told over and over. Mm-hmm. But we know from reading the Bible, we know that Hiram Abiff finished his work.
Go ahead, I'm gonna be quiet.
We know that brother finished his work because the Bible tells us he finished his work.
Uh-huh.
So who are the stories relating to? And this is getting back to our original topic.
Well, so now, my opinion is the story is relating to the black man. That's my opinion from my experiences, for what I'm seeing is actually taking place, that has actually taken place with us. A people who have been hit in the head, buried in a ship called Jesus, brought on a Wesley course and left for dead with an acacia at the foot of their head, waiting for someone who's strong enough, a prophet, to come along and reach down and give us that grip that's going to raise us up from that dead level to a living perpendicular, which sets upon the level of time to which no traveler has ever returned. So once we're here now.
Oh, don't take them too far now. But that's the correct answer. And when we look at this, we understand that now we have a revolution going on in Freemasonry. Mm-hmm. There's a revolution going on in Freemasonry. I mean, if you look at online, if you visit the lodges in the last couple of months, in the last couple of years, you see that there's a real revolution going on inside of Masonry. It
is. But see, here's the thing. Brothers have been kept dead, or those who are supposed to be awake in Freemason. When you become a Freemason, you're supposed to enlighten yourself, because as an apprentice, you're supposed to apply your mind with useful knowledge. But that doesn't necessarily take place, because that is not what is really given out in Freemasonry as we know it today. What happens is now people are beginning to really take a notice of the organization and what they are part of. Like Brother Chris Jackson awfully says all the time, I can teach a dog how to put a ball in a hoop. Okay, now dribbling may be something different, because now you're really getting into the construct of Freemason when you go and apply, open a book and begin to read it and apply it. And a lot of us don't do it.
So, Bertrand, how can we implement this type of process in our lodges? I mean, what are some of the things that brothers can implement inside their lodges that can help them with the new apprentice who's coming into the lodge, who's seeking more light? How can we help keep the membership going and at the same time educate brothers along the path?
Well, first of all, you have to tell them that this thing we call Freemasonry is not a club, okay? This is not a club. We're going to challenge everything that you thought you knew is going to be challenged. Now, if you want that, we can give you that. think this is a club you're finna come into, you're in the wrong Masonic lodge. Now you can go join another one, but this one right here, it's all about enlightening you about what's taking place around you. So whatever you thought you knew is going to be challenged. Now, if you can deal with it, this is the lodge you need to be in. But if you can't handle this, you need to go join a club. Now you're challenging everything they thought they was going to come into. You want these mysteries? You want to have an idea of what Masonry is? You're in the right lodge. We're going to challenge that. But if you think that this is a club, this ain't for you.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that a lot of younger guys my age, when they come in, like they be geeked for like the first year and a half. Yeah. Then once they get past that, they be like, yeah, I gotta go meet up with the brothers. Oh, I was like, damn, bro, where your enthusiasm from? Oh man, it's getting kind of boring, and we always talking about paying bills and
I got raffle tickets for you to sell.
Yeah, and I'm just being honest. This is why when I heard about the Rosicrucian Lodge coming here to Chicago, I jumped on that in the dope.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I was like, I know how co-Freemasons operate. Because we share a lot of amity with them. So we understand that them some proficient brothers and sisters. They is.
Well, like one brother,
brothers would be mad about females being, because I felt that way in the beginning. Trust me, I still feel that way in a lot of ways. Like it's certain, like I never gripped onto them before, but we've had in-depth conversations about esoteric Freemasonry, and they know way more than a lot of brothers that's been Masons for 10, 15, 20 years.
So let me ask you something, Brother Moussa. Do you think that Masonry in America has really been affected by, I don't want to say mainstream, but maybe by the principal practices of Grand Lodge of England, the way they have things set up, or are we dealing with, because we know that the Grand Lodge of England and the Grand Lodge over in France different.
They do.
Yeah, the Grand Orient.
Yes.
Is different than the Grand Lodge of England. They apparently severed amity when they were supposedly allowing women to come in to the lodge, and then it was a report out that said that they didn't let women come into their lodge, and then after that they was just like, oh well, now we're co-Freemason. We're gonna allow co-Freemason.
So go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
I didn't know. I don't personally know if that's to be true though.
I understood.
I just know what my grand chapter has stipulated to us.
I understood that they removed the Bible off the as far as the it's considered a light. They removed that and only left the compass and square on the altar, and this is why they put amity.
That's where I was headed with that.
It was a lot of things. It was more than just that. It was a few things that they was supposedly doing that wasn't in correlation with the Grand Lodge of England. But they like, we a sovereign Grand Lodge, we should be able to do what we want to do. And then they French, so you know how that goes. Yeah,
but I'm gonna answer this question real quick, and it was by Illuminated Light. He said, if the legend of Harem and Biff refers to African American slaves, then how is it that the legend is just like the Egyptian legend of Horus, which existed before the white man came into existence? The parallel that I'm using is the mere fact of those dry bones. When Ezekiel was standing on the mountain and God asked him, Ezekiel, what do you see? I see these dry bones. These dry bones here over in America need to be awakened. They need to be shook, because people got a 400-year head start on us. We can't stay where we're at. We still own the same thing that we owned once then, back then. Some of us are doing okay, but the majority of us are suffering. So the ideal is that what I'm looking at when I make the comparison is the mere fact of who we are as a people over here in America. That's the context I'm looking at, and how we was brought over here. We was neither naked nor clothed. or hook wink, with a cable tow or chain around our necks, okay?
Yep.
We was conducted to a door of no return.
No return.
So I make those comparisons and looking at where we're at. Some of us have done well, but the majority of us are still suffering. That's how I see that, Brother Illuminated Light.
We supposed to understand that.
And Brother Illuminated Light, we definitely understand where you're going. I think all of us do on the story of Horus. We all know as Masons, we know that's the oldest, the most ancient story of a resurrection. And we know that's the first story of a resurrection. And it's for each Mason to actually go into the history of all these different religions and pull out the similarities. That's the Mason's job. That's his job, is to pull out these similarities and compare them, and to lead with truth first, to step out on faith. That's what that left foot is all about. And squaring the action, squaring the information that we're given. And I think that's one problem that we're having maybe from some of the lodges who maybe have older members who are not giving out the light, who are not squaring brothers when they come in and receiving those brothers on a true level and giving them more information by squaring them.
Right.
And this is something that needs to be done because we have young brothers that leave the lodge in disarray, not knowing which way to go, or we have older members that end up falling out because of the same patterns. We are here to teach. We are master teachers. We've been given the information. We receive the information, and we have to act on the information.
So look, we're gonna stay online for about another 10 minutes. I know some is like, they want to stay on a little longer. I got someone that just asked me could they call in. I don't mind you calling in, but I'm not gonna try to keep people up late. It's probably about maybe going on about 12 o'clock, close to 12 o'clock on the East Coast time, maybe 11. So we're going to give it another 10. So if you want to call in, whoever calls in like right now, you can be a part of the conversation. Other than that, in the next 10 minutes, as a matter of fact, in the next 10 minutes, we'll be closing shop. So it'll be 9 o'clock on the West Coast and about 11, 12 o'clock on the East Coast.
Yeah, I'm glad you gave that breakdown, brother, because like you said, a lot of people will lead a lodge in disarray. And understanding that the temple, Jesus said it clear. Look neither here nor there, for the kingdom of heaven is within you. You're supposed to be perfecting yourself with these teachings that we call the craft of Freemasonry. You're not supposed to be trying to correct other people. Who are you to tell me what I'm doing wrong? When you ain't even got your stuff together.
Right.
And that's the thing that I learned being this young. Okay, like I remember I was 29 years old when my position is almost up in the lodge being worship. So I remember when I first got elected. Man, if I never seen hate in my life, I think that day. Man, I think that day.
Right.
And one of the elders, he just kind of like bursted it out. He was like, "Oh, y'all to let the little know-it-all lead the lodge. Oh, we going to hell. Oh no, he don't believe the way we believe and all of this." My elders had to check him like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he's just like he do this all the time when he don't like something. He the past master who just outburst stuff because he can. That's him. He just always like, if he don't like something, because he come, I'm gonna be honest, he come from the international background, so he real Christian. So for him he got into the lodge we in because of the Rosicrucian esoteric Christianity in his mind. It's just esoteric Christianity. He not thinking about the encompassing of all faiths. He's just thinking about Christianity. So when he react like a Christian.
Right.
And I think that's a problem with a lot of the elders. They are religious and they in the lodge and they blocking a lot of the people that's younger than them from holding positions just because they fearful of the direction it might go in.
And that is true. And to answer Illuminating Light question in regards to, he said, I think that Masons had in mind the teaching us in regards to the Egyptian teaching, not the slave trade. And to piggyback on what you're saying, you're right. But however, when you look at blacks in America and how we've been treated, I look at Hiram Abiff and how he was treated as he tried to escape, and they killed him, according to the legend. However, we know that he went on to actually complete his work if you really indulge yourself in the readings. That's my comparison only. That's it. Because
it's accurate.
And I say that because when you look at the black man, they didn't want us to read. They didn't want us to write. I'm talking about here in America. So all the tangible things that would bring light to us was removed from us.
Yep.
That's the comparison I'm making.
And we have to keep in mind that some of those very things that they used to keep us in bondage, and some of the symbolism of the steps that we went through, you got to keep in mind that it was Masons who were running this show when this was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So every time you see a picture of a slave, he's usually half-dressed, barefoot, shod, hoodwinked. These are all Masonic traits.
And then, go ahead. My apologies. Go ahead.
And so what the brother was trying to use as an example, he was just using that as an example of how the craft was used against us. This is our craft.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a European craft, even though it has been refurnished, and given back to us in a foreign way. But this is originally the African Egyptian craft. This is where it started.
And the Europeans didn't even know how to irrigate water.
And we know this. Yes, and we know this from the stories of Plato and Herodotus and all these other individual Greeks who came into Egypt. We know that they was nothing but babies in the arsenal when we was long ahead. So we know this to be a fact. But we have to tap back into that. We have to, and that's why I stress so much on pushing back those three monotheism religions and picking up something other than that. Because we have to tap back into that nature which was ours. We have to get back into the deeper parts of the mysteries. Because when we get deeper back into the deeper parts of the mystery, beautiful things happen.
Now, brother, I'm going to cut you off, but it's not what you're saying I'm going to cut you off from. I'm going to cut you off to deal with this troll by the name of Malcolm. Now, this troll by the name of Malcolm, the reason I call him a troll, because when you refer to all of our leaders, when you refer to black leaders who are boule sellout, you have no idea. Unless you're willing to step into somebody's shoes to put your life on and to put your life in jeopardy, then you talk to me. But until you're willing to do that, you don't have a pot to piss in and a window to throw it out of. Because anybody who's willing to put their life on the line for me, oh yeah, I got your back. You can call them a sellout as long as you want to. But until you're willing to do that, you the sellout, you the boule. And I say that because there are many of our black leaders that we know nothing about who have lost their life because they wanted something better for their kids and those who are here now. So for anybody to say the boule or whoever they may be as a sellout, you don't know what they went through. We have no idea.
They YouTubing.
You know.
They YouTubing. They taking stuff. They're taking stuff from YouTube and they're trying to apply it to the craft.
Exactly. And I'm going to say this. We know that the FBI went to Malcolm X and asked him to sell out Elijah Muhammad. He told them no. We know that. We know the game that they play. The ideal is if you know the game, why in the hell you keep falling in the same trap? So don't talk to me about the leaders who have gone before and laid their life down, talking about they sellouts, until you're willing to do it. Hold on just a second. Somebody's trying to call in. Hello? I guess they not. I think I lost somebody. Hold on. Hello? I think I lost everybody.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Hello? I guess they hung up. All right. Is everybody back? Wait a minute.
Still here.
There you go. Brother Moussa, my apologies.
It's all good.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So
I just wanted to go in on that dude about the boule, because he got to understand what boule is.
go ahead.
He obviously don't know what the boule is to be blaspheming our ancestors who, like you said, risked their lives and died for us. Whether you like Martin Delaney, W.B. Du Bois, Frederick Douglass, or any other great leader that came before us, you calling them boule because you only calling them boule, bro. I know why you call them boule. My cousin is an alpha. My cousin is not boule. I know why they do that. They think anybody that's in a fraternity, college fraternities, or what they call Greek frats, or Masons, are boule. They even try to say the same thing about the Honorable Marcus Garvey because he was a Knights Templar.
Okay,
they try to call him a boule. They just do that because brothers is in organization. That's all they doing.
Okay, so Malcolm, I'm gonna say this here. It is not that I'm offended. It is the ideal that I don't like. All we ever do is try to tear each other down. And to me, when you call someone out like that, well, he's a boule or he's a gatekeeper. Until you know what that person went through in their life to achieve and to be where they're at, I can't do that to them. That's me. Because as you see, I'm a member of a fraternity. So if you want to call me a boule, well, hell, but I'm just saying, I can't just sit idly by and every time I look up, we want to disrespect those who've gone before us. I can't do it. I don't have to agree with everything they did, but a lot of brothers have sacrificed some things, including Bill Cosby. Whether he raped those women, whatever, we know that if you look at some earlier things that Bill Cosby have done, like in education, man, come on, you can't take that away from the man.
That's why they calling them boule. I'm offended if you're not offended. I'm offended because they calling them boule for the simple fact of the divine nine. They ignorance is status because they saying, oh, the brothers who started Sigma Phi Phi
right.
in 1904, that these is a bunch of boule house Negroes. This is what they trying to say. So you got your mixture of your Martin Delaney's, W.B. Du Bois, and people in that mix, and the relationship that Martin Delaney and W.B. Du Bois had with Marcus Garvey is why a lot of these brothers are saying it. I know where that teaching come from. I used to promulgate the same buffoonery. Knock it off. They are not.
So he also said, all I'm saying is, why is that every time we have a damn leader, they're in the Greek frat or Masons. Let me tell you.
I told you. That's why he's mad.
Let me tell you why, brother. Because I'm gonna put this here. I'm gonna put it to you this way. When I became a Mason, there were men that I seen in the community, and they was doing their thing. When I asked them, they was like, "Yeah, I'm a Mason." And I was like, "Well, damn, I want some of that."
Right.
Okay, if Masonry has you doing this and carrying your weight, that I want some of that. So as I matured in this thing called Freemasonry, I've had a ball. I've had the privilege to sit at tables with various people in high places and understand some things. So that gave me privy. And I'm not saying I couldn't have got it if I'd have stayed where I'm at, but it probably would have been a lot more difficult. However, me being where I'm at has led me to see some things differently than I normally would have seen them.
Yep.
Take, for instance, if I'd have stayed my behind in Mississippi, where I'm from, big shout out to Mississippi, and stayed connected to the Baptist church, this stuff right here we talking about, man, I wouldn't even have it. I wouldn't. So when I go back home and I go to talking like this, they're looking at me like, you done lost your natural black mind. So This is what it does for you, my brother. And it is not to speak hastily towards you or call you a troll as I did. I apologize. However, in the mere fact of you not even taking in consideration that if you are into apprentice, you are supposed to occupy your mind with useful knowledge and take and apply that knowledge. See, knowledge is not limited just to a particular group of people. It is not. But as long as you look at yourself in that fashion, you are going to be limited. I would not limit it. I would not put myself in that position.
You grew up Hebrew Israelite. That explains it. Then you should understand. My uncle's name is Yadekwa. Okay, he was an original commandment keeper, bro. He helped the development of One West, which is today known as ISUPK, bro. When you're talking about this, is what I was just talking about to you earlier, brother Tony. All my uncles was Hebrew Israelites and Black Panthers. He coming from the same scope. That's why he's saying that.
Okay. Well,
so to understand that type of thought is to know that they don't know what they're talking about, because they use it as a deflective ploy because they Masons themselves.
Well, I would say this here too. If I don't get initiated into Freemasonry, I can pick up any book and read about it. I can pick up any book and read the initiation process. But to be initiated into it gives me a better understanding of it. So this is why, to answer your question, Malcolm, we are part of this thing we call Freemasonry, because it unites us. Without Freemasonry, I don't think I'd have met King Moussa. I don't think I'd have met Brother Jonathan. I don't think I'd have met Illuminating Light. I don't think I'd have met Terrell Goldsberg, okay? I don't think I'd have met you if it's not for Freemasonry in this channel. So this is what it's really all about.
Yep, the divine, the great, we in the Grand Lodge right now, the Earth. We on the terrestrial lodge floor right now, having a great conversation, building each other up. And that's what it's about. I think certain people that come in with certain ideas are just uneducated in the area that they speaking about.
Wow, man, we almost on a 2-hour mark. So check this out. Here's what I would like to do. King Moussa, Illuminating Light, Brother Jonathan, Brother Christopher Jackson, on what's the day? On Sunday. I'm going to come back on live on Sunday. If any of you want to call into the show, we're going to be talking about the primitive rites. All right. So Sunday show, just so you know, Sunday show is going to be about the primitive rite degrees. So if any of you brothers want to come in and listen and get some, you're certainly welcome to do so. So Sunday, which will be April the what? 7th, April the 7th. Our show is going to be on primitive rites. All right, Sunday. I'm coming back on live on Sunday. Our show is going to be about primitive rites. Those esoteric degrees, the 43rd is going to be all open. So if you want to get some, come on in. And I know Brother Christopher Jackson, I got to have you on Sunday, my brother. I got to have you. And because Brother Jackson was one of the ones that introduced me to the primitive rites. So definitely I got to have him on. So anybody got any closeout words before we shut it down tonight? Go for it. Starting with you, Brother Jonathan. Did I lose you? I guess I did. So look. Hello, is anybody still on the phone?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Yeah, I could have lost them. But go ahead and give me some last words, brothers. We get ready to close it out.
I just think all the brothers that's still on this journey, the long walk on the short path, I think we should just become proficient in our work and study the esoteric aspect of our craft. And applicating that, it'll free us from the religious dogma that traps us from the expansion of mental growth, in my personal opinion. And it'll allow you to step into those other appendant bodies and learn more information about Freemasonry, as opposed to just staying in the Blue Lodge because you're comfortable with belief stuff.
Right. So the time we're going to come on Sunday, we're going to do 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I like to have you back on the show, brother King Moussa. And when you get to do your show, just let me know, brother. I subscribe to your channel. I don't know how often you go live, but I do subscribe to your channel. And when I catch you, I try to tune in and hear what you got to say.
I just ordered some new equipment, so it'll be here Monday, so I can start shooting my videos here.
Okay. I certainly appreciate that. I'm gonna, I was upgrading and putting a green screen behind me to show some
All
things.
you need is Google Hangouts.
I was actually thinking about that, but this is my own personal opinion, and I kind of like the rawness of the show.
Me too.
It's like let's just have a conversation. I kind of like that because it's more personal.
It pull more attention from the viewers.
Yeah, that's me. And if you think I should change some things up, the viewers of the show, if you think I should change some things up, let me know. I would talk to the members of the Research Lodge, and if they want to invest the money and do their thing and make it all pretty, put the green screen behind, get me this great camera that's going to be picture clear, I'm all for it. But right now, this is where it's at. This is where it's at. So look, as we begin to let me see. He said, I do. Oh, you do as far as calling in, Brother Fitzgerald? You do think I need to tighten my game up some more with better props and things like that, Thank you, brother, for sharing your knowledge. Brother Mohammed, can you put me in tune with Brother King Moussa? Brother King Moussa, I don't know if you see this brother's Umoja 357.
Yeah, I can see him.
Okay, hit him up.
Okay.
All right. Blue Square, what's up, big dog? He said, I feel like I'm sitting in your study. Oh, yeah. Well, certainly welcome, everybody. So we're going to get ready to close out tonight. I hope everybody has gotten out of this. I didn't mean to go so long, but it's cool. I enjoyed the conversation with Brother Jonathan and Brother King Moussa. And if somebody asked me this brother's real name, I could not tell you. That's all I know. So check out his channel. Check out Illuminating Lights channel. And whatever you do, as always, keep your light on and stay out them bushes. I'm out. Later. Thanks.